So, I can't believe I'm actually saying these words, but it's the year 2022, and Skyburner's Oath is meta. And not only is it meta, it's actually very fun. Bungie actually found a way to make Skyburner's Oath a usable, fun, and even meta exotic in the year 2022. So this build, let me go over the weapon first. This weapon allows explosive slugs. When you're aiming down sights, the slugs travel fast and straight. When you're firing from the hip, the explosion is larger and applies Scorch to the target. That sentence right there, applies Scorch to the target, that's all that they changed, and it made such a gigantic difference. Now, yes, Skyburner did get a buff previously before that, but it really wasn't used even with the buff. But now that they introduced Scorch with Solar 3.0, it makes things so much better, to the point where I actually am enjoying using it in Grandmasters, basically the highest content in the game in terms of difficulty, and it just shreds. It makes everything explode. It destroys Cabal shields, including the barriers that you would see in the Proving Ground Strike, which you'll see on the screen at some point here. It's just awesome. So this build revolves around using Skyburner's Oath and any solar weapon, particularly because Cabal Nightfalls are generally solar burn. So you're mostly going to see the Proving Grounds, maybe some Arms Dealer, but you could use this on any of the Cabal-related Nightfall GMs this season. So that's Proving Grounds, Arms Dealer, Warden of Nothing has a bunch of Cabal, even though there's a Fallen Boss, and Inside Terminus, because, again, a ton of Cabal, even though there's some Vex splashed in there. So, how does this build work? So, like I mentioned, Skyburner's Oath can Scorch. On top of that, we have Dawn Chorus. Your Daybreak projectiles cause targets to Scorch on contact. We don't care about that, but you can run Dawnblade if you want. Realistically, you want to run Well, though. Your Scorch effects deal more damage, plus, and you get a small amount of melee energy each time your Scorch effects damage a target. So what this means is that every single time we Scorch enemies with anything, including Skyburner's Oath, you will get melee energy back. Every single bullet, you're getting melee energy back. Why does that matter? Because every time you melee, you get Radiant, which is a free damage buff to you. So you can have Radiant channeling and chaining non-stop over and over and over. Also, you can throw your fusion grenades on top as well. That also scorches. And then by abusing that, you'll be staying Radiant. And you can run Revitalizing Blast plus Withering Heat on champions. So causing damage to the solar ability weakens champions for a short duration. So you throw your melee at them, you weaken them, you Scorch them, you get more energy back, you throw your grenade, it does a ton of damage. Also, when you stun the champion, Revitalizing Blast causes everything to ignite around it, making a big explosion and killing any red bars that was around the champion for free kills and damage. Now, the sick thing here is that you can actually chain your melee to give you your grenade back, which, as I mentioned previously, does a ton of damage because fusion nades are nuts. So you can run Impact Induction, causing damage with a melee attack, reduces your grenade cooldown, and it basically gives you 20% back every time you use your melee, which you will be getting back consistently non-stop. So then, on top of that, you also can run Firepower. I am sure a lot of people don't know what the hell this is, because it's been in the mod vault since basically it's released. So while you're charged with light, you regain a portion of your grenade energy when you use your grenade, consuming one stack of charged with light. This thing can stack, so you can run multiples on your character instead of just one. So you stack this on top of Impact Induction, and your melee, when you melee, you get your energy back. So you just keep chaining melee, grenade, skyburners, melee, grenade, skyburners. This is all not including any other weapon, by the way, such as Cataclysmic, which just dunks on literally everything, regardless if it's solar burn or not. Now, since your abilities are going to be your prime source of damage outside of just using your heavy weapon, you're going to want to run mods that give you an elemental well. So, in this case, you run elemental ordnance. Defeating a companion with a grenade spawns an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type, which you can easily do because, again, fusion nades are disgusting and will one-shot basically everything except a champion or a boss. Then, you can have elemental charge, if you'd like. On top of that, become charged alive by picking up an elemental well. If the elemental well is damage that matches your subclass elements, you gain 2 stacks instead of 1. So what you could do is, you could run 1 firepower instead of multiples, and then run a high energy fire slot anywhere on your chest piece, and thus you can chain having high energy fire for your weapons whenever you want. And when you don't have it, you just use your abilities to go melee, weaken, stun, grenade, damage, and you're dead. So this is a really fun cycle for a Solar 3.0 build. I'll also go over what I have in the class here, in case people are curious. So obviously, Well of Radiance. Then you've got Empowering Rift if you want to run Restoration, so then you can heal and have extra damage. Otherwise, you can just run a Healing Rift, then Burst Glide, Celestial Fire, because Celestial Fire can have extremely long distances to travel and still hit the target, whereas Incinerator Snap is extremely short range and just inconsistent, so I would recommend Celestial Fire. Fusion Nades, like I mentioned, because they're nuts. Icarus Dash and Touch of Flame. You really don't need to pick any of these. Like, whatever you want to use and whatever you like, you could put. It really doesn't matter for these. And then for my fragments, I have Ember of Eruption. For your solar ignitions, have increased area of effect. Ember of Searing. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy. Again, you just cycle your abilities back. Torches, of course, for powered melee attacks against combatants, make you and your allies nearby radiant. And then Ember of Ashes, you apply more scorched attacks to target. You could also include Char in here if you feel like it. That's up to you, just a player preference thing. But essentially, that is the build. You'll see on screen how it works. It's really, really nice. It shreds through the Cabal, or basically anything, really, if you felt like using it outside of Cabal stuff. It's a bonus that you can also use Skyburners to break all the shields in something like Proving Grounds, where you don't have to fight the boss and its fireballs to get to the shield, or just wait 18 rotations till the balls are, they stop firing at you. Instead, you just use Skyburners and shoot through it and save yourself like 5-10 minutes of even doing that GM, especially in the boss room. Also, one last thing, not mandatory or anything, just a suggestion. You can run Harmonic Siphon also on top on your helmet, so every time you get multiple Skyburners kills, or maybe a Cataclysmic kill, whatever Solar Heavy you may have, you can make orbs like that for yourself just to get your super back faster, because why wouldn't you want your well more often, right? So that's it. Hope you enjoy the footage on screen, and the build is, I'd rate this like a solid 8 out of 10, especially if you're a Warlock main, you will love this build. It is endgame ready, so you can run it literally anywhere in the game. And if you have multiple people running this loadout, you will just shred through basically all the GMs as fast as humanly possible without even breaking a sweat. So if you like this build, or if you enjoy it, a like and a sub would be appreciated. Let me know in the comments what you think of the build, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Also, I stream daily on Twitch, twitch.tv/SneakyBeaver. Okay, goodbye.